is back into it in Chester. Here's El Senior. Yes! Yes!
The center back, Jacob Glesnes, is going for it.
Oh my God! What a goal! And that will do it! One of the best comebacks in recent years. 3 unanswered by the Union. And they go into the Gold Cup break, winning it 3.
Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd. Well, now that we can finally return back to our quote-unquote normal routine of the podcast, I thought that we would continue bringing on guests of the opposing team that we are facing that week to review that upcoming game. Joining me today from NYCFC Nation is Mr. Andrés Emilio Soto. How are you doing today, Andrés?
What's up, Todd? I'm doing really good. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully your fans are on board with some of my NYCFC talk, and I can entertain them.
No, absolutely. Like, I've just figured, people would much rather hear from somebody that supports this team, watches this team every week and everything, does the research, as opposed to me doing a couple hours worth of research and not knowing exactly what I'm talking about. So why not bring somebody who knows what they're talking about? And that's how I got you. So thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you. I do some research. I watch the team. I follow them. Obviously, they're the number one team in my heart. When it comes to MLS, though I don't know how accurate my research has become, but we'll see how it goes.
No, absolutely. That's the tough thing about MLS, with being such a new league and everything. Like the last 2 months I was doing a union quiz tournament and everything. And it's like, man, this is like really, really hard to find information out, especially older games and everything. I was like, yeah, I like MLS and everything, but it's really hard when you're looking for specific information. So it's like you find one thing and you're like, oh, well, I can't find it anyplace else. So I don't know how true this is or not, but I'm just going to go with it and everything. And as long as we sound good, I guess that's what matters. But we try to give 100% of the truth, but sometimes I guess that doesn't happen. But let's get into, how did you create NYCFC Nation? And then you had a podcast for a little bit too, correct?
Right. So technically, I did not create NYCFC Nation. I acquired it back when NYCFC was announced in 2015, I think, or maybe 2014. I forget when. But my first episode for NYCFC Fan Podcast, which was the original name of my podcast and blog, was 2 days before the first game against New England, which we beat them 2-1, and David Villa scored that great intro goal at Yankee Stadium. Jeez, such a long time ago. But about 2 years afterwards, the owner of NYCFC Nation, the Twitter account and their blog, reached out to me saying if I wanted to acquire it, which I did. So technically, I am the owner, and I've built it to where it is now. We got a great presence on Twitter. Our podcast, which I quote unquote had retired back in late November of 2019, I'd say, is or was called NYCFC Nation. We also had another podcast on top of ours on the same channel called the New York City Football Podcast. We have very original names here in New York,
Yeah.
So they've also paused their recording, and obviously they did it before 2020, and now here we are in July. And, I did say, quote unquote, retires because I kind of lost passion. A lot of people who don't record podcasts may not know the amount of work that you put into this, Todd, and the amount of editing that we do. And then we have to advertise it and promote it and then find guests, and then those guests back out, and then you get the prep. And so life happens, and I wanted to do things a little differently. So we do have quite a large presence with the amount of NYCFC Nation members that actually contribute. We have 2 photographers that actually go to all the home games. We've got a few blog writers, and we do get people here and there reaching out saying, hey, can we create some content? I'm trying to build my resume. And at the end of the day, as long as you're truthful and you're doing this for fun, I'm all game, because that's what I'm doing here. That's why I think we're doing this, right? We're passionate for the game and passionate for creating content of the game that we love. So hopefully that answered some of your questions there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. This is why we do it and everything, the passion for the game and everything. And you support New York City. I support Philadelphia Union. Who cares and everything. We're both passionate about the teams and everything. And so it's like, there might be other podcasts out there, other blogs out there that people are doing the same thing and everything. But you're like, yeah, I like what you're doing, but I want to put my own twist on it and everything. I want to grow this bigger than what you potentially did and just give different takes and everything. And so that's the one thing I love about this whole Philadelphia Union podcast that I've been doing now ever since November and everything, is where it's such a niche community and everything. It's like these people that are listening, they're diehards of this team. These people care and everything. I say it all the time. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day and everything. Because at the end of the day, they don't have to listen to the podcast, but they're choosing to listen to the podcast. And that's something that I am forever grateful for, that people are taking time out of their busy days, especially now this time of day and age and everything, where, you know, you got the whole COVID thing going on. People aren't working and everything. People are busy looking for jobs and whatnot. But people are like, hey, the Free Kick podcast just uploaded a new podcast. Let's go check it out for an hour or something. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And I'm sure that's the same for you too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little humbling when you create something and people give you, you know, positive feedback. And, you know, I think any feedback, as long as it's you know, concrete suggestions, is good feedback. And, you know, you're going to have those people who don't like your show. Cool, that's fine. You know, there's other shows to listen to, but they'll come back.
Absolutely. They might get mad at something you say for a little bit, but then, you know, they listen to every single episode, and then you say one thing to make them mad. They're eventually come back. They're eventually come back. Yeah, exactly. I'll give you a 1-star review on iTunes. Yeah, that would teach them and everything. Like, well, thanks. But so I was telling you earlier and everything, you know, the last 2 guests that I've had on the podcast and everything, from LAFC and from FC Dallas, found both of those podcasts on Reddit. I found you on Reddit and everything. Love the internet and everything. And when I found your podcast, I was like, October was the last one they recorded. I was like, I wonder if I can still get in contact with them. And then I found your Twitter and everything. I was like, hey, he's reposting stuff. And then I found NC Nation. Then I found the podcast's Twitter and everything. I was like, well, they're retweeting stuff, so something's going on. They might not making content and everything. I don't care about that. As long as, you know, somebody's staying active with the team and everything. And, well, here we are and everything. And like I said earlier, I appreciate you coming on and everything. And looking forward to getting your opinion in New York City for this MLS is Back tournament and what you think the score prediction is going to be. But before we talk about the Union versus NYCFC game and Philadelphia Union, I'm curious, how do you feel about this whole tournament, the MLS is Back tournament? Do you like the idea of it? What are your thoughts?
Man, so as you said earlier, you know, with COVID and everything that's going on in this world, in our own country, I want to be happy and say that I'm excited to see soccer, but you're seeing it all over social media, with players already being diagnosed with coronavirus within, what was it, Columbus, FC Dallas, who else was it? I mean, there's like 2 or 3 other teams that started having pop-ups of positive of reports. And personally, I don't like it. Maybe that's not the right answer people want to hear for a podcast talking about MLS is back, but I don't know. Like, I think a lot of this has to do with owners wanting to make some type of return on their investment on the players and salaries that they created. And I get that. But in the world that we are in, where these players are going to be playing probably obviously unprotected and putting their lives at risks, I don't like it. So I'm not in full support of this. I was hoping that there'd be no sports until 2021, which sounds, again, I'm not a business owner and I'm not a soccer franchise owner. So I can understand the amount of, income or, expenses that you have, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I got you. That's definitely, it's definitely a different answer than I've got from people asking in the past and everything. And hey, that's fine. I mean, that's your opinion and everything, and nobody's going to get mad at your opinion. Or, I mean, there might be people that get mad at opinions, but at the end of the day, it's an opinion. So it's like, hey, he feels different. He feels different. It's like, why are you getting mad? It's like, it's out of our control and everything. Like you said, it's the owners and everything. They're like, hey, we spent a lot of money and everything. We want to make somewhat of our money back and everything. And I think Don Garber came out and said before the tournament was announced that, MLS, we're on pace to lose $1 billion this year. And we need to do something and everything. And I guess now if you're not happy about this tournament coming back and everything, there's talks that after the tournament, teams are going to go back into their home markets and play a 18 to 22 game schedule and everything, which, you hear all these reports, once we get into the colder months and everything, then it's really going to hit hard, the coronavirus and everything. But again, not trying to make this into a political podcast and everything, which a different opinion you are and everything. But I guess if you don't like that, then you definitely don't want them returning back to New York City and playing in Citi Field.
I mean, listen, I don't even think Citi Field will be open for us. Like, I think if anyone, the Mets are like, no, we're closing our stadium for you guys. It's great when you guys have your own stadium, where you're going to play home games. But it sucks when you've played 5 games so far in 2020 and not one has been at your home turf. We had 2 games in the CONCACAF Champions, 3 games in the CONCACAF Champions, 1 in Costa Rica, 2 at Verbal Arena. And then our other two games against, what was it? It was against Toronto and
Columbus.
And Columbus. They were both away games. So technically, if anything, the most positive thing about MLS is back for New York City FC is that we are used to playing away. Even our home games, right? So we've got that under our belt.
And I didn't even think about asking that question and everything. So how annoying is that for you as a fan that you guys still don't have a home stadium? I mean, do you think you guys are any close to getting that stadium, or?
I'm pretty sure we'll find an antidote to coronavirus before NYCFC, gets their own stadium. There's been rumors here and there, and then those rumors get squashed down. I would say, because of the amount of jobs lost around the world because of the outbreak, I think there is more opportunity now for a big conglomerate like CFG to make a deal happen and guarantee affordable income housing and jobs. Whereas before everything was skyrocketing with prices, and it's like, oh, there's such low employment rates here in New York City. There's no place to play. Now I think there might be a little bit more negotiation, but dude, if you were to tell me like what year you think we'll have a stadium, I'd say like 2030. Like I just like an actual stadium, like rumors of it being built, hopefully within the next 5 years. But we said that 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So we're nowhere near close on that. And, I love how our presidents always say we're closer every day. And it's like, yeah, come on. That's such a politically correct answer. So it is tough as a fan to not have a home game, not to have a home turf. Honestly, when we play at Yankee Stadium, that's our home, and every away fan and every away team knocks us for it. And, we're New Yorkers. We get knocked up for a lot of, we get knocked out for a lot of things, but, make fun of us, whatever it is. We're going to support NYCFC when they play at Yankee Stadium. We're probably maybe top 10 in terms of traveling support as well. So, our fans are really hardcore fans. They love the team. They love to support the team. It sucks when you play at Red Bull Arena. It sucks when you went to Hartford to play a game there. I think there was one point where we may have played a game in Coney Island. It's just like we're so used to this by now. It's like making us numb, or at least makes me numb. And it sucks. That's all I can say. We're not happy about it, but we're here to support the team. We're here to watch soccer, play soccer, and you know what? We're not doing a bad job. The last 3 years we've been on the top of the league, either first, second, or third, or fourth. We suck in the playoffs, but that's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. That home game against Toronto, and you guys were the number 1 seed, and I'm sure you don't want to go down that road and relive that and everything, so we won't take stabs at you and jabs and all that. So, but you're right. I mean, the home support looks good at Yankee Stadium on TV and everything. And then I remember last season, the last game of the regular season for the Union against NYCFC, those guys traveled pretty well, in my opinion. Like, you guys already clinched the number 1 spot. You guys didn't need that game. We needed that if we wanted to finish number 2 and everything. And as we all know, we lost and everything. And you guys traveled well and everything. I was a little bit surprised, but I guess, the drive down from New York's a lot better than coming up from LAFC, Atlanta, or Orlando, something like that. And yeah, now that I think about it, I think you, DC United, and the Pink Cows had the most support at the stadium last season. So
I think we can agree on one thing here, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, nobody likes them. Nobody likes them at all. But I think another thing that both of us can agree on are NYCFC and the Union are probably the 2 favorites to win Group A, if not finish first and second. I mean, you can put it in any order you want. We knew the Union and NYCFC have played 11 times in the regular season, and we know you guys have our number and everything. And like I said earlier, you're coming on because New York City is the first team that the Union play against, and we'll give our predictions and everything a little bit later. But I want to talk about New York City's first 2 regular season games against Columbus and Toronto back in March, and I know it's so far away, and I think both of those were 1-0 defeats, and now you can't look at those games from 4 months ago and say, oh, let's talk about the form and everything, because nobody's been playing for 4 months. Everybody's going to come back a little bit rusty and whatnot, but what I want to know is, what do you think went wrong in those 2 games? And like you said, you guys played down in Costa Rica for a Champions League game. You guys did well down there, but the 2 games against Columbus and Toronto, you guys didn't look good at all.
Yeah, we didn't look good. So I would just say, and this may happen, resonate with a lot of your fans, we've had one of those coulda, woulda, shoulda games. We could have won it. We should have won it. We didn't, right? The game against Columbus, our first game for the MLS regular season, this is coming off of a 5-3 win in Costa Rica and a 1-0 win against San Carlos of Costa Rica for the CONCACAF Champions League. We thought we kind of had some type of rhythm. 3 minutes into the match, our central defender, Maxime Chenot, gets a red card. So when that happens, your strategy is screwed up, In the 10th minute mark, our right back, Anton Tinnerholm, got hurt. Came back into the game to play the rest of the game, but great. Now we're playing down 10 men. Now we're down 9 men, right? So granted, all that happened and Columbus still didn't score on us because Sean Johnson was huge that game. We even had our own opportunities to score against them in Columbus. We didn't. We came up with a loss 1-0. And it's one of those matches where it's like, all right, we started off on the wrong foot. Let's start from square one on the next match. And the next match was Toronto, who has our number. Like, whether it's in the playoffs or the regular season, they've beaten us so many different ways, shapes, and forms. And this was another match where Sean Johnson was huge. And we don't know what the issue is in terms of, we had such a good form last year. Is it because of our brand new coach that we have, who just came in this year as well, and Ronnie? Is it a different strategy that we're doing defensively? We don't know. Toronto had so many chances against NYCFC. So the score could have been 4-1 Toronto. On the flip side, there was about 6 or 7 amazing opportunities that NYCFC had on target that shot it directly to the goalkeeper. So again, could we have won it? We should have. We didn't. We ended up losing 1-0. The game after that was the game against Tigres, which I would say was probably our best quote-unquote team performance. We ended up giving a goal in the 96th or 97th minute, which broke everyone's heart in freaking New Jersey because we were at Red Bull Arena at that time. But it was the first time where we can actually see, what type of lineup Ronnie, our new head coach, was putting into place. We do know that Ronnie doesn't like to do too many changes. He has been doing them up front. Our back, I guess, 6 or 7 are solid. That's probably not going to change for long term unless it's for an injury or to, replace some tire legs. But it's hard to say what went wrong. It's just one of those games. We've had so many games where even though, looking at the end of the year, we were in first place, but we had so many games where we should have lost the game, but we got that penalty shot, to tie it. Or we won the game because of the penalty shot. It's really hard to put a finger on it, but yeah, we lost 1-0 games that we should have won. The real question is we haven't scored a goal in 270 minutes of gameplay. So that's Columbus, Toronto, and Tigres. So what's up with that? But, that was back in March. So
back in March, yeah. Yeah, it's 4 months to get back to training and trying different things out. And like you mentioned, New York City, they have a new head coach, and that's former manager Ronnie Dealer, who I'm saying his last name correct, but, Ronnie's good enough, something I guess. Like yeah. And in the past, New York City, they've been known for playing an offensive attacks through the back. They create a ton of overloads. They switch the play. They get players between the lines and utilize possession of the ball. Now, can we expect the same tactics, or is it still too early to tell what Ronnie wants to implement on this team?
Yeah, I think it's still too early to tell. I will tell you that going back and looking at the 5 games that we played, we're not playing from the back as much as we used to be. We're not holding the ball on the back line like we used to be, where every fan has their heart in their mouth because one bad pass, you guys or the opponent can easily shoot on target, and that has happened to us many times. I think Ronnie definitely likes to play with a higher pressure up front. So he likes to keep the pressure on, I guess, the attacking team with the forwards and the midfielders. What I do notice is with Ronnie is, other than not trying to build up the play from the back, it's really building up the play from the middle of the center of the pitch and then immediately spreading it wide from there to our wingers to bring it back in the inside. That's actually worked quite often unfortunately, against Tigre, where we didn't connect. But you can easily see the build-up play created right in the center of the pitch with Maxi or sometimes Ring, who then spread it out to the wings and then push it back inside into the box and try to create some confusion by stretching out the defense. Whereas before, like with Dominic Tarrant, it's really building up that play in the back, passing the ball 16, 17 times on your own half, and then finally finding that open man in the middle and making that counterattack. I know Ronnie likes to move the ball quick, so I'm pretty sure that players are happy about that. He's had consistent positions for players. He's also admitted to, during this break of coronavirus, analyzing every single NYCFC game in 2019. So what that tells me is that even the 5 games coming in, he still didn't know all our players. So does that prepare him for a better strategy? I really do hope so. But we don't know what's going to be in store until, we actually see some games coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys haven't really lost any big pieces during the offseason. I know they didn't make any big superstar signings like they made in the past and everything. I mean, you guys have signed a couple of midfielders and everything, and the one player that I'm really looking forward to, being a Philadelphia Union fan, I don't want to see this guy do well, but this guy seems like he's an intriguing player, and that's Uruguay's U20s midfielder Nicolas
Acevedo.
He's 20 years old, and so I think he could have a bright future for New York City and everything. Will we see him in Orlando though?
Yeah, he's been training with the team just last week, so. We're excited to see what he brings to the table. The fan in me, because I'm always a fan first, is burned by young Spanish or young South American players, primarily ones that we pay a lot of money to. Jesus Medina, who's one of our DPs, he's been a big disappointment. I really do hope he has a bounce back year because I think he has some promise, but it has to be in the right system. I did actually speak with Ronnie, a week ago when we had a web conference with NYCFC members of the press. And, the question was about Nicolas Acevedo and where he sees him playing. He sees him right now, one, as like a central defensive midfielder, not in terms of Ring or Sands, who I think has a bright future, James Sands. Those two guys have cemented their positioning. I think it's more, I don't want to say a replacement for Medina, but just to see what else he can bring to the table. He might be one of that center midfielder that, plays from the middle, kind of like Maxi and kind of goes everywhere. We don't know too much about him. So he also said that he hasn't played with the team or practiced with the team in a while, and he has to be caught up to the speed of the strategy of the game. So I think we'll see him play. I don't think he'll be a starter off the bat. And with the 5 substitution rules that we have now, chances are we will probably see him more often than not, which is a good thing in his scenario. I'm keeping my expectations low, just because I don't want to be burned again from other acquisitions, not even from South America, but we had forwards like Burgett, who, was playing in Norway, if I'm not mistaken. And he was great for Malmö, where he came from in Sweden, but coming here, I don't want to say it was a complete flop, but it didn't work out, for the amount that we were paying him. So, yeah, Nicolas is exciting. I would say on the Philly side, some of our younger players like James Sands, he's a stout defender. He's going to be with the men's national team maybe 2-3 years, I would hope. He's one of our homegrowns. We also have Joe Scally, Justin Hack, who are young players that will probably see some time during this tournament, who have also been our homegrown players. But yeah, I would say those are my 3 more exciting players to watch than Nicolas, because I don't know anything about him yet. We really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the Philadelphia Union fans, we know El Brujo Martinez, our sporting director, Ernst Tanner, came out and said, yeah, he's going to be a project and everything, don't expect him to hit the ground running. But that game against LAFC and everything, it's like we didn't know much about him and everything. It's like you try to YouTube and everything and try to bring people that cover the sport over in Venezuela and everything. And he basically said, just don't expect him to play that much and everything. We got to transition him in. But that game against LAFC, he looked really good as center defensive midfielder and everything. And I'd expect him probably to start again and everything. But you're right. These South American countries and everything, it's kind of hard to get tape on these guys, especially when they're so young and everything, where they haven't been playing for that while, or the Venezuelan league. How many people are watching that league? I don't even think you can watch it on TV and everything. So it's like, yeah, you hear all these promising things about these players, what they can be and everything. But at the end of the day, people there's not a lot of tape on them and everything. And that's why, those teams rely on their scouts and everything, hope that they did their work and everything. And as fans and everything, we're just fingers crossed that Ernst Tanner hasn't let us down yet, other than, I guess, Marco Fabian, which I'll say it every time, that wasn't a signing and everything, but ownership said, hey, make the signing, and that's what happened. But, I believe Ernst and everything, and I think all the signings that he's made are going to come good and everything. But the signings that you guys have made, do you guys think you need a big superstar, or do you think your squad's as good as it is right now? Or
yeah, it depends on what fan you're talking to. A fan that wants to see them win, or a fan that wants to see more butts on the seat. I think you need to find a happy medium. There's a fan in me that loved to see Andrea Pirlo play, and what he did on the field was not good. what he did off the field in terms of putting butts on the seat, selling merchandise, I think that's just not equally as important, but very important when you're running a business. So I don't think we do need a superstar. I would hate to have a superstar like Ibrahimovic, who I adore, to play in a baseball stadium, because that would totally look bad. I really want to get that part of our culture fixed, losing David Villa, which is probably what a lot of fans thought would happen to our team, is just sink because he was scoring all the goals. I think just shows you the power that CFG has with their scouting network and the amount of teams that they own around the world, including in Uruguay. I think we don't need big name signings. I mean, we lost a player, was it 2 years ago, Yangel Herrera, who was a center defensive midfielder who plays for Venezuela. What he's done on the field was amazing. And a lot of fans didn't notice it until he was off the field. And it's like, oh, that's what Herrera did. He's one of those players that he's not going to be scoring goals. He's not going to be scoring grabbing all these assists, but he does so many things on the pitch to stop the defense and start the attack that you don't really recognize or see in that 20-second goal clip, So I think what NYCFC needs is more, I would love to have a top forward and score goals, but hey, listen, we got Herrera. Who knew him other than being a Brazilian, right? Probably some Brazilians knew him. I didn't know him. And he's doing pretty good with him scoring goals and throwing out his fingers like that. We've got, Castellanos, who's from, Argentinian youth player who plays on the wing as well. He's really growing up to becoming a good player. I don't see him staying with us for too long. And on the right side, we have Tajuri Shradi, who has a laser of a left leg, and he's young as well. So these are no-name players that are making a name for themselves within the league, and I think that's more valuable than saying, let's get another Pirlo. Let's get another. I mean, Ibrahimovic and Pirlo, I just say two names, complete opposite characters, complete opposite plays of game, but they both bring butts to the seat.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What's important.
And that's one thing that Philadelphia Union fans are dying for. I mean, you look at this team, Jamiro Montero last season when they brought him in on loan from FC Metz. Who knew who he was? Nobody. And he was our best player last season. Then eventually the Union and FC Metz were able to agree to a transfer fee, and he became our highest paid player and our biggest transfer fee paid for a player and everything. And the dude's a baller and everything. And it's like, if you want to be successful in MLS, you've got to make these low-key signings that nobody knows about and everything, because that's exactly what Ernst Tanner has been doing for the Union. And other than Marco Fabian, they've been hitting. But again, the fans, they want to see a Zlatan. They want to see a Mario Balotelli. Everybody keeps saying Balotelli. I'm like, no, stay away from Balotelli. You do not want Balotelli on your team. I mean, I just always remember when Man City came to play the All-Stars, I think it was, maybe it was LA Galaxy. I forget who it was, but Balotelli had a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and he tries to do a flick with his back heel and everything. And then Roberto Mancini at the time was the manager for City. He's like, yeah, get out of here, Milner, go on the field and everything. I was like, geez, this is what you think of MLS and everything, where you've got to do this cocky stuff, your one-on-one, just get the easy goal. Yeah. We know your quality and everything. So yeah, I don't want that guy playing for my team, but fans, I guess, they have a little memory of that incident. They're like, yeah, let's get Balotelli. Yeah, you hear these reports. Yeah, he's been a cancer at every team he's been at. It's like, yeah, it's cool. It's Balotelli. Everybody knows him. But yeah, I don't think the Union need a big superstar. I mean, I've been saying the likes of Adam Lallana, Mario Götze would be cool, who's a free agent with Dortmund, but he's not coming to MLS. Adam Lallana is probably not coming to MLS either. He'll probably go to Leicester City since Brendan Rodgers, the old Liverpool boss, is highly on Lallana. And then I've said Alex Teixeira. I always look at the Chinese league. I'm like, yeah, there's some promising players that have played all over in Europe in the Chinese league and everything. Let them come over because they're wasting their time, their talent. But that money talks in China, so that's why they go over there and everything. Yeah. So
that money talks. And, one of my things that I've said a lot of times, especially on my podcast, is, being that we're in New York City and, even in Philly, we have such an international presence with so many different people here. I can imagine how many more seats we would put, or butts in the seats we would put in the stadium, baseball stadium, from a player that's Chinese, or a player that's Korean, or a player that's from, India doesn't have a great world soccer team, but who knows? Let's find other international players that could put different types of butts in the seats and maybe, raise the awareness of Philadelphia Union or NYCFC. And to that, example, where I have season tickets at Yankee Stadium. Gosh, I can't get over this. But I was sitting next to a Brazilian couple, and they were laughing at the game. I'm like, whatever. And so I started talking to them in Spanish, and they were saying, "Oh, we came here to see our bear." I'm like, "Really?" It's like, "Yeah, we're in town for the next 2 weeks, and we heard that NYC has a football club and they have a Brazilian." I'm like, "That's awesome. Are you going to come back?" No, they're not. They're here for vacation.
Yeah.
But they literally went to Yankee Stadium as Brazilians to watch a match, and I think that that's important to always have that type of international player on a team.
No, absolutely. And that was the whole idea with getting Marco Fabian for the Union. Let's dive into the Mexican culture and everything and get fans to come out. Like, yeah, I definitely did see a lot of fans in Mexican national team jerseys and everything, but I don't think it did as well as they had hoped and everything. And
right.
They did it. They tried it, and Marco gave us that goal that we'll forever be grateful for against the Pink Cows and everything. But he really just didn't fit in with the team and everything. Injury problems and everything. His temper got the best of him a lot of times. Way too many yellow cards. I think he had a red card. One red card, I believe it was. So it's like, you don't. It just didn't work out. I mean, you appreciate the effort because, like you said, you want to dive into different groups and everything and draw them out to a game, whether it's they're coming for a vacation, whether it's a friend brought them and everything. Hey, I know this player. I've seen him, and I support this national team and everything, and I recognize him playing for the national team. But Philadelphia Union, like I said, I mean, it would be cool if they had a superstar, but honestly, keep doing what you're doing, Ernst. But going back to this MLS is Back tournament, besides playing against the Union, you guys play against Orlando, and you close out the group against Chicago, I believe it is. So how do you like your chances against Orlando and Chicago?
I feel like NYC is one of those teams that plays to their opponent's level. So when we play against Orlando and the Fire, we expect to win, and it always ends up being one of those tough games that we lose, probably 3-2 or maybe tied 2-2. It's really hard to really understand what the strategy will be, especially because I haven't really seen many Orlando games this year or the Fire. But I would imagine that our players are better this year than they were last year. And, of course, your players and Orlando's players and the Fire's players. But, we have a new coach, and there's so much to be said about that that's really hard to say why we should be better until it actually shows on the field. For what it's worth, 5 games, we won 2 against a team in Costa Rica, and that's it. We lost all the other matches 1-0, so we're really not showing too well. So would I be confident to say we should beat these teams? No, I don't feel confident at all. I don't know what type of fit form we'll be in, especially since New York City was shut down for so long that it took until phase 2 for the team to actually practice in quote-unquote New York instead of going to Red Bull Arena and practicing. So we were also one of the last teams to arrive in Orlando, to practice as well or train. Some people hate the word practice, but it's the same thing. But it's, I'm not going in here with high hopes. If I just don't want anyone to be hurt. I personally, going back to your original question a while back about my thoughts on MLS tournament, to me, I know there's bragging rights for winning the tournament. To me, it's just a long friendly of matches. Like, it's just, that's how I feel, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I appreciate you guys giving a CONCACAF Champions League spot for next year, whoever wins this thing. And then I think the players, all of them, not individually, but just as a group, get $1.1 million in a bonus. And then I guess they split it up and everything. So it's like, okay, we're giving the team as a whole a situation where, hey, look, you guys get this. And then the players are like, hey, here, I know we made you guys take a pay cut. Here's some of that money back and everything. You're not getting it all back, but you get some of it back and everything. So, I mean, I appreciate the league for wanting to give the teams, the players individually incentives to do well in this tournament. But I look at a team like New York City where they've always been in the top 3 where they don't really need a CONCACAF berth, where you look at Philadelphia Union and it's like we had it there, but we choked it away. And so I feel like New York City, they might, hey, if they get out of the group stage, great and everything, which, by the way, I do think they will get out. Like I said earlier, we can both agree they're probably favorites to win this group. Right. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you don't seem like that since you've been talking. But it's like Philadelphia Union, they would love to play in the CONCACAF Champions League. So it's like now you add that incentive. Maybe they'll take it a little bit more serious than some other teams. I was talking to Amar Reyes, who was on the podcast last, and I was like, your LAFCs, your Atlantas, why do they care? I mean, yeah, the group stage, it goes towards your regular season, but these guys are always going to be in the CONCACAF Champions League. So it's like, let's try out youth. Let's try out different formations. Let's just try out different things and everything. And that could be a case with New York City too, with a new coach. You said you went back and watched every single 2019 game because he didn't know every players and everything. So he's trying to get familiar with them. This might be a chance for him just to, hey, it's only 3 games counting towards the regular season. If we go 0 for 3, then we can turn it around when the regular season comes back. But let me try some different things. So, I mean, would you be surprised if you see New York City just completely go with new formation, new players, just trying different things?
No, I wouldn't. I think they're out there to win it. I think Ronnie doesn't want to go 0-5 in his last 6 matches, actually 0-6. But I don't see him just going out there and not giving an effort. I think he's going to put a strong. I mean, we'll go up to lineups prediction and all that. I think we're going to have our basic 11 with an occasional rotation of 1 or 2 players. I just want to see the effort that the players put in. You know, that's what I want to see. It's one thing for a coach to say, hey, these are my starting 11. But how much effort is Maxi, who was on record to say that he didn't want to be there, you know, or in that essence of we're being forced to go there, you know? I want to see what happens when NYCFC gives up an early goal. You know, how much effort are the players going to try to fight back into the match, or are they just going to give up? Because it is only 2 extra games after that, you know? So there's a lot to be unknown. Yeah, we are one of the favorites on paper. But how many times is paper and actually performance, you know?
In any sports. Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing you were talking about, you know, Ronnie's kind of implementing a pressing system and everything with the team and everything in the attack and the midfield. And that's how Philadelphia Union play as well and everything. But now you're dealing with Florida Heat. Now, I know we play the 9:00 game, but if anybody's been down in Florida in the summertime, the sun's still rising up, but that humidity gets up there pretty fast and everything. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of pressing from either one of these teams and everything. And what are you looking at as a first-time lineup against the Union?
So, yeah, it's going to be hot. It's like one of those hot summer days if you're not from Florida, or at least from New York City, whenever you take the train station, whenever you take a subway in the middle of 90-degree weather, it's going to be like that, but worse because you're going to see the sun. So, you know, hopefully they're hydrated. Pulling hamstrings left and right is a bare minimum, but we'll see how it goes. I would say, we have a basic back 8 almost. So Sean Johnson is going to be our goalkeeper. Our back 4, you're going to have Ronald Matarita, Maxime Chanot, Collins in the center over there, and then Anton Tinnerholm on the right. Usually we'll have Alex Ring or Sands, I should say Alex Ring and Sands as your kind of center defensive midfielders. Sands typically plays almost as a center back on the attack, and Ring pushes up. In front of Ring, you're going to have Maxi Morales, who, you know, all you really have to do is just cover him, and our midfield almost evaporates. So it'll be interesting to see if Philly takes this game seriously, how much pressure they're going to put on Maxi, because honestly, the balls go through him. You know, the goals usually come off his foot, either starting the attack or ending it off in an assist. Our top 4 players, or I should say top 3 on the top, we have Mitrica, our Roman attacker, who loves to shoot from far away. And when he doesn't get the ball on his feet, he gets angry. So I have mixed feelings on him, but he's been a constant starter under Ronnie's last 5 games. We have a flip-flop with Herbert, Castellanos, Medina, and Schradi. So those 4 kind of rotate in and out. I'm going to assume Mitrica is going to be there. I'm going to assume Herbert is going to be there, and I'm going to hope that Castellanos is there. So that way we have Medina and Schradi coming off the bench to provide some type of offense in the second half. But yeah, so just to wrap up that up, I'd say Johnson, Matarita, Chanot, Collins, Tinnerholm, Sands, Ring, Maxi in front of them, and then up top 3, Mitrica, Herbert, and Castellanos.
Yeah, we don't want to see him, Castellanos. He's been a thorn in the side for the Philadelphia Union and everything, and the dude has talent, like you said earlier, and everything. I mean, so skillful on the ball and everything, and yeah, I never look forward to watching him have the ball because he's made a mess of Philadelphia Union defenders in the past. But for the flip side, for the Philadelphia Union, I'm looking at them going with the diamond formation that they always go with. So you got Andre Blake in the goal. From right to left, you have Ray Gaddis as the right back. The center back could be up in the air. I think it's going to be Mark McKenzie and Jack Elliott. I know Jacob Glesnes, our Norwegian center back, who scored that worldie of a goal against LAFC. He could potentially start back there. I guess it's all a matter of, who's putting the most work in training and everything. All three of those guys I feel comfortable with. It doesn't matter who starts. And then on the left, Kai Wagner, our German left back, Jim Curtin said he's fully fit. He's in line to start the first game against New York City and everything. So I fully expect him to start. And he's going to be crucial for us going up and down the field and everything. And actually, one thing I thought was interesting is when Kai Wagner came on to our Union Drunk Hour a couple weeks ago and everything, he's like, yeah, I never heard of the position left wing back and everything. He's like, I love playing left back, but my thing playing left back, I love getting forward. I love joining the attack, and that's something that we don't really get too much from Ray Gaddis on the right. So I think Kai's going to continue to be a strong presence for us on the left side of the field. But again, like I said, it's going to be hot down there. I just checked the weather. It's going to be 76 degrees at night on Wednesday. So that means when you wake up on Thursday, it's already going to be hot and humid with a high of 92. So, I mean, it's definitely going to be muggy out there, and we'll see if these teams, both of them, press in the midfield. You have probably El Brujo at the 8. You probably have the left of the diamond. You have Jamiro Montero to the right of the diamond. You have Captain Ali Bedoya, and in the center, you have Brendan Aronson. And then the two strikers, I've got to imagine it's going to be Casper and Sergio Santos. And then the 5 substitutes. It's only a matter of time. Okay, when do we bring on El Sino? And everybody's like, this is going to be such a great game. You talk about super subs. Now you have 5 substitutes and everything. Now El Sino is really going to work his magic. But he's 35 years old, and in the heat, how much does he have left to give and everything? So I don't know. I mean, yes, El Sino works magic when he comes on, but the heat, and I think it's going to affect them. Yes, it gets hot in New York City, it gets hot in Philadelphia, but that Florida heat's something else. So we'll see what happens and everything, but that's the lineup I think is going to happen. I think this game is going to wind up a draw, 1-1, I'm predicting. And I think the Union, I've said this before, I think the Union are going to go 2 wins, 1 draw, the draw being against you guys. And whether or not that's good enough to be top of the group, second in the group, I know they're going to go through and everything. It's just this game, they're going to get a draw. So what are your thoughts?
I wouldn't be upset with the draw, especially our first game in such a long time and, not really training or playing a match. Yeah, listen, I'd be happy with a draw because I think we would lose. Like, I just don't understand what our strategy is going to be or how we break out of the funk of not scoring a goal in over 270 minutes of match play. And, maybe this is the game where we break out and we can see where, Ronnie's strategy lies in. But, yeah, I'm a New York City fan. I've been hurt many times before, so I'd be happy with the draw 1-1. Hey, maybe it's a shootout and it ends up, 3-3 or something like that, a little bit more exciting. But, yeah, I'd be happy with a draw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be crazy if we had a 3-3 game because this is going to be the first game back for MLS now that Vancouver and FC Dallas game has been called off due to FC Dallas players testing positive. And I think the plan is to play that game at a later date and everything. So the Union and New York City are going to kick this whole tournament off, which let's hope for a great showing and everything. And I can't wait for it to happen and everything. But do you think New York City gets out of this group or you're still not feeling confident?
I'm not confident, dude. Like, I'm not confident even when we're in first place. Like, that's just my nature. I wish I could answer this question after I see their performance, but if I have to give an opinion now, yes, we will get out of this group, and it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be, like, pleasantly good soccer. We might get I feel like we'll win these games with an extra penalty that we shouldn't have deserved, or we'll lose because of a penalty we gave up for some dumb nut reason. It's just, we will get out of this group. I'm confident in that our players will take this seriously enough. It's just interesting really to see what Ronnie's strategy is, playing this short tournament. And, now, as I mentioned before, and you did as well, like seeing how all the players really play and seeing how he can use them to his advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And is there anything that we haven't gone over that you want to bring up, or you think we've covered everything?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to bring up in MLS. I hope everyone who's watching it gets to enjoy some quote unquote normalcy. And I just hope all the players stay safe and, all the staff stay safe and who's ever listening to this stay safe as well.
Absolutely. Well, as we're wrapping this up, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where to find the social media account and everything? And I know there's a Philadelphia Union page and everything, so odds are, people probably won't want to follow and everything, but it's never a bad thing to promote. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, so if you want to listen to more of the podcast, NYCFC Nation on Twitter, that's at NYCFC Nation. Literally, if you just type that on Google, most likely it will come up. Our website, which has links to everything else, is NYCFCNation.com. Check us out there. My personal Twitter handle, if you want to talk crap to me during the Philly game, that's awesome. At the Andrés Soto. Be happy to talk some smack during the game.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I meant to bring this up last episode, but I totally forgot because, last episode, Oscar was such a great guest and everything. So I was like, yeah, kind of starstruck. And I don't think he'll mind me saying that. But I'm doing a 2020 Philadelphia Union jersey giveaway. It's going to be a replica. And that will start July 9th through August 9th. And so here are the ways to enter and everything. So first, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, search The Free Kick, Todd Lewis, and you got to share the screenshot in the Twitter replies. So that gets you 2 entries. Tag a friend on the post, that will get you another entry. And then 3, retweet the post, and that gets you another entry. So you can get 4 entries for this jersey and everything. Like I said, only 4 max entries per person. The winner has 24 hours to claim his or her prize after the drawing. If the 24 hours pass without the winner claiming the prize, then we'll withdraw a new winner. And to be eligible for the jersey, you have to be following the Twitter page at Free Kick Pod. That's the only way to be eligible. But go ahead and follow the page at Free Kick Pod on Instagram and Facebook as well. Check out the website, thefreekickpodcast.com. And I already told you guys how to find the podcast and everything. But thank you so much, Andres, for coming on to the show and everything. I had a blast breaking down this game. And hopefully, Philadelphia Union can come away with the win. But I know Philadelphia Union fans will take a draw too. So
we're on the same boat. And guys, honestly, not just follow the show, but also share it. It means a lot for a content creator like Todd to put this hard work and the great job that he does. And it really means a lot when someone says, oh, a friend shared it to me. It's like, cool, you guys actually listen to him. So follow, subscribe, and share.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. But with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.